beautiful human. Welcome to part 2 of Let's Make a Wool Coat Together. I have now completed said coat and I could not be happier with it, and I can't wait to show you. But first, let's recap what we've done so far. In part 1, you saw me draft my pattern, so what I did to draft it is I took my trench coat pattern and I kind of cut off fabric from the front closure as well as took off some length. Then I made another pattern in another piece of cloth for my front piece. Then I serged all the edges of my wool pattern pieces. So you saw me in part 1 draft my pattern, cut out my pattern pieces from my wool blanket, and then you saw me serge all my edges on my wool blanket. I was still brainstorming then what I wanted to do, but in video 1 I did say I was going to patchwork some pashminas, and so that is what I have done. At the end of this video I will show you my completed coat, and then I'll have a whole nother video where I show you details of the coat because I am really excited about some details and I do have some finishing still left to do. So first, what I did is I patchworked my pashmina scarves. How I did this is I laid out my scarves, folding them in half, one on top of the other. I cut out rough rectangles, somewhat similar in shape and size, and then what I did is I lined up each top of the row to make sure there was a straight line on the top, and then I just serged off the excess with my serger for the bottom of each row as I made my little pashmina patchwork rectangles. After I made rectangles big enough for my pattern pieces, I put my wool pattern pieces onto my pashminas and I cut those out as well. It was really challenging working with pashmina scarves, and I probably would not recommend this as a liner for anyone if you wanted to do a coat and work with scarves as a liner. Personally, not my favorite. When I was taking my scarves to my serger, they kept bunching and my serger thread wanted to gather the fabric just because it's so thin. And then since I've worn it even today, one of my pashmina scarves is just completely unthreading, and so I've had to go up and do touch-ups to the inner lining. Overall, would not recommend pashmina scarves. For the sleeves, I did use a blanket liner because it wouldn't show as much. I really wish I would have used that blanket for the whole coat. I still really like the way the pashmina scarves look at the final product, and you'll see it, but I do wish I used that blanket I used for the sleeve as the whole liner, just because it's soft, it was easy, it would make the coat way sturdier. The coat now is going to kind of be a little bit more delicate, just because the delicacy of the pashmina scarves. So after I made my patchwork pashmina liner, I started putting my coat together. So first what I did is I lined up each front piece and I put them front sides facing together, and I put the beautiful silky, it's probably not real silk, but satin lining of the wool blanket kind of sandwiched in between the two layers of the pashmina scarf lining and the wool blanket, and then I sewed those together right sides. Then after that I would flip them inside out, and it gave me this beautiful finish of the silk blanket liner and the front closure area on the right side, and then it encases all those seams and makes it really finished and really beautiful. I'm going to add a button onto the right side so it can close over on my left shoulder. This coat is technically fully reversible because there are no seams showing inside or out. I am not really going to wear it reversible because the wool would be a little bit itchy to wear by itself. After I sewed on the arms, I did the pockets of the jacket, and for this jacket I was really excited because I wanted to play around with pockets that were kind of front square pockets but had side pocket accessibilities. So what I did is I cut out a square of that cotton cloth fabric that I used for the lining of the arms, and I kind of did right sides together, flip them inside out, and I made a opening on the right side of each pocket just for your hands, and then I closed the side so you can also use the pocket on the top. And I'm going to show you as well in my next video when I go over details of the coat, just because that's a really detailed pattern element that I wasn't expecting to include in this coat, and it wasn't in my original trench, but I saw it somewhere. Maybe somebody was wearing a coat like that at a coffee shop that I was at, and I was obsessed with the idea, so I had to try it. So really excited about my pockets for this coat. And then the bottom I kind of just kept open because it's finished on the bottom and you can't really see it. I did sew on like a fray of the scarf on the front panels. I might do the same on the back, but I just haven't done that yet. But overall, that is what I have done to make this coat. I'm really excited about it. And without further ado, Here is my coat. It is so beautiful. It is so warm. I wore it today on a cold day in Vegas and I absolutely loved it. I feel like it really has the neutral effect that I was going for while still remaining kind of loud and a statement piece. Like I said, I'm going to add a button to the top. I'm going to wash it to see what happens after it washes just because it is wool and the pashmina and I know it stretched as I worked with it. So I'm going to give it a wash and then I'm going to come back with another video that shows you in detail every detail of the coat, and I'm really excited for that video because we'll get to walk through all the finishings and you'll get to see close up kind of how I pieced it together. So stay tuned for my next video, part 3 of this wool coat, because it deserves 3 parts just because it's so fantastic, and let me know in the comments if you would make one for yourself. Hope you have a beautiful day and subscribe to my channel if you found this video inspiring, useful, and you want to see more.